If you live in Nigeria and you're commuting by bus over a short distance, maybe you're just heading into town, everyone just minds their business. No one really cares. But if you're going for some considerable distance, maybe over to Lagos, that's where you hear stuff like, let us commit our journey into the hands of the Lord. This is one of those builds where you want to commit your journey into the hands of the Lord because things could easily go wrong.
The engineering is not in the CV, it's inborn. And if you give me something now, give me 2 wire. If I join it together now, it's pack.
Anyways, don't be that guy. So here is a follow-up tutorial on the lithium ion battery pack we're making with the 21700 batteries. So this is what a series connection is supposed to look like, where we connect positive to negative ends all the way in series. But this is quite impractical. We can't have a long battery like this for our applications. That is why we break them. So we find a configuration where we can still connect the positive to the negative leads or terminals to still form those series connections. And after we do those series connections, we can then build a parallel connection. But that's not what we typically do. What we typically do would be to build the parallel connections first and then have those parallel connections in series with other parallel connections. But here I'm just showing you how the series connections are made. So like I said, we'll form the parallel connections first, but then we alternate to make them series connections. So this first parallel connection, the positive terminal will now be connected to the negative terminal of the second parallel connection. So as before, first thing we do is to check the cell voltages to make sure that they are all within the same range, because if they are not, there's going to be like a current rush when you connect them together. So they need to be in the same voltage range. And then first thing we do, of course, is or the second thing this time is to just use hot glue and hold everything together to make our working a lot easier. So when you're done gluing them together, you should have a bunch of batteries in parallel, and then you connect those parallel batteries in series with other parallel batteries. You can see that they are interchanged, they are alternated, positive, negative, positive, negative. So here, this is where you want to map out where you're going to make your joints, because current is going to flow from positive to negative, and that negative meets another positive, which then flows to another negative. That's what I'm showing you with my fingers. So you want to be careful of the places you're going to join. You can mark them out with a marker if you want. You don't want to create a loop or a short circuit by creating a loop and bridging unnecessary joints. So as before, we're going to be using a spot welder and nickel strips to join the cells together. Spot welding is considerably better than soldering, because soldering applies a lot of heat to those lithium cells, and that could either damage the batteries or reduce their efficiency. So you want to use spot welding. And while you're spot welding, please be careful to make sure you don't bridge anything. Make sure your hand doesn't slip. If you have to use Kapton tape to protect some cells while you're spot welding, that's better. When you're done with one side, flip everything over and be careful of the sides you're joining, and then go ahead and spot weld everything. And here I'm using Kapton tape to wrap everything together. So this wrapping actually serves as strain relief for the wires and protects them from something pulling them apart. So you want to wrap that thing so good, like a package that's meant to cross the US-Mexican border. Wrap it really tight and add some padding to help it absorb some shock if it gets to hit anything, because this one is meant to be in a UAV. So after that wrapping, we now do the PVC shrink wrap and have everything look nice and clean. Use a heat gun to make everything look a bit presentable and well packaged. Also serves as some protection. So here's the thing, the series connection we did affects the voltage. So each cell, each single lithium cell is supposed to be 3.7 volts nominal. We use nominal voltage for calculation. So if as you increase the number of cells in series, you increase the voltage. So if you want two cells in series, it will be 3.7 times 2, which is 7.4, and all the way. So for this one, we're doing 6 cells in series, which is nominal voltage will be 22.2 volts. But the parallel connections increase the cell capacity. So for each of these cells is about 5,000 milliamp hours. So times 6 would give you about 30,000 milliamp hours, because there are 6 cells in parallel. It also increases the maximum discharge current. For each of them here is 9.7 amps times 6 is about 58.2 amps. So if you have an application that requires more current than each individual battery can produce, you want to add more cells in parallel to help increase their maximum discharge current. All right, guys, see you later. Ciao.